Welcome to Pregnant in the Netherlands. Are you pregnant and planning to breastfeed, but maybe you're feeling a bit nervous about the experience and you're looking for some extra support? Then this is the episode for you. Today, we'll be talking with Ruth Adriaansens, who is an internationally board certified lactation consultant, or an IBCLC, or a lactatiekundige in Dutch. Ruth is a mama of 3 kids and is very passionate about her work as a lactation consultant, as it really sets children up for a healthy future, which she believes is so important. When she's not teaching breastfeeding classes or at a breastfeeding consult supporting a breastfeeding parent, she enjoys gardening, reading, and spending time with her horses. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about what a lactation consultant is and what they do?
We as lactation consultant, we prepare women how you're going to give breastfeeding, for example, in courses or pre-consults, and then you tell a little bit or a lot about breastfeeding, how it goes, what you can expect, what complications you can have, and how you can handle that a little bit. What you do for work, what you can do, what you can expect when you go back to work, that sort of things, and that's especially of course when you're pregnant, and when the baby is there, you help the moms and the dads really with most time the latching on. So how can you latch on? How do you have no pain, enough milk? How can you do it with other children? So when you have another child walking around with 2 years, how are you doing that?
So you say that actually in an ideal world, you already have the preparations, you have a course upfront. Do you also offer such a course or training?
Yeah, yeah.
And how does it look like?
I offer them by a lot of midwife practices.
Mhm.
And of course, also you can have one-on-one, private consult, but that are most the specific questions. And of course, the course itself is more the theory and how it works. I think preparation is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's very important. And also that is not, you know, getting a baby is not always fun. It's hard work. It's very hard work, and especially for the first one, you have to you get to know your baby, you get to know your partner because it's a dad in a split second, and you're a mom, and that's totally different. And you have to find each other, and that's good to know a little bit before. You can't really prepare on that part, I think. That's going to happen, but I think you be aware of it. That's already important.
Yeah, that's definitely. Like my experience was that it's funny that you say that it's hard because when I realized how hard it is, it was actually while I was breastfeeding my daughter. I was in the hospital and I think she was a few hours old.
Mhm.
And then it just hit me that, oh my God, I have to keep this child alive from now on. It's like 24 hours job. And I don't know when is she going to come to to get food from me. I know it's the best nutrition she can get, but still it was so demanding. And I was really like, oh my God, it's much harder than I thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to take care of some little. I always said that's really strange, maybe, but a dog is easier. You can give it for a few hours to the neighbor. Just please go and walk with the dog, and the cat you go. You can whatever. But it's totally different. It's a baby. It's a human
Yeah.
being, and that's a totally different thing. And that's a very big responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we're not really always aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And do you have only one time when you meet the clients before, or how does it look like?
Yeah, most time one time. Yeah, for the preparation, I think it's really enough one time because
Mhm.
when the mom is pregnant, she also focusing on the delivery. So
Mhm.
of course you can have a lot of input, but not everything is hanging in a braid, or how do you say that in proper English? But yeah, it's a lot, and really the really thing how you can do it really comes when you deliver the baby, and then really starts. The one time is really enough.
Nice. So let's rewind a little bit and talk about your background. What led you to becoming a lactation consultant?
First, I became a nurse, and then I went to Brazil and England for a while because I didn't want to be a nurse anymore at that moment. And then I came back and I thought I wanted to do something different. And then I really got in the social work. And then I met a partner and I moved to Eindhoven. And at that moment, so I met somebody who said, "Oh, you can come on. There's so less maternity caregiver, so please come to us, and it's a 1 year education, and then you are that already." I think, okay, then I meet new people. So at that moment, I came to Eindhoven, and I did the education, and became a maternity caregiver. But then I broke my ankle, and I couldn't do that anymore. And then I became pregnant, and then I had but then I already saw that a lot of people struggling with breastfeeding when I were working as a maternity caregiver. Yeah, and at that moment, I thought. I want to be a lactation consultant, and I think that's really the thing I really want to do. And yeah, then I went to Belgium to get my education.
So you were pregnant while you decided that it would be your path.
No, I wasn't really pregnant. I was already having my first daughter. Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
how was your experience, the first breastfeeding?
Also struggling for sure. When you're a mom, you're not a professional anymore.
Mm.
So when you're a nurse on the NICU or in a hospital, that doesn't matter at all. Then you're really also struggling. I can say now to mom, yeah, really, when you go to the GGD, then what they tell you, think about it, feel what's good for you, and what are you doing when you're at that moment you're by yourself. You do this exactly the thing what they tell you, and then you don't yeah, that's how you are as a mom at that moment. Then you're not a professional anymore. And then you're struggling, you go to get formula and everything. You do. And somebody else needs to tell you, think, feel what good for you and for the baby, and then you get it back. And that's why it's so important to have some people around you at that moment.
Do you experience that people get the wrong advice?
Yeah, for sure. They want to make it also often too easy for people. Just use the bottle, but then they getting a very quick bottle, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then the babies don't want to get on the breast anymore. And that struggle to get back to the breast, and mom thinks, oh, she don't want me. That sort of feelings. That's horrible. That's not nice. It's very easy to avoid it.
With the right support and the right advice. Yeah.
Yeah, the right support, the right advice, exactly. Yeah, I think there's a lot of work to do, but I already thought that 16 years ago, and I thought, now I'm going to change the breastfeeding world, but it's still difficult.
Yeah, but every bit helps. I think
Yeah.
every woman every family you supported.
It's worth
Yeah.
it, and it's necessary for sure. Yeah, yeah.
So, what are some other like common issues that you experience? Maybe when you visit expat families.
I think for sure the first months are going great because most time they have help. Their moms and dads are coming over, so that's always great. But after that, then they have to go back to work, and a lot of time they work full time. Use it very often. Yeah, and then it's very hard to keep your everything going. All the balls in the air. It's heavy. And then of course the start with the breastfeeding is so important. If you have enough production, you can also pump much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So the start is always important for now, but also when you go back to work. But I think really the social contact, and that's of course the breastfeeding cafe, is so important also. Yeah, that helps a lot of people.
That's something that you help run, right?
Yeah, with 3 other persons, 2 lactation
Okay.
consultants, and 1 volunteer. Yeah, and we do it for people. So every week there's somebody else, and that's really we already do it for 15 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that in Eindhoven?
Yeah, it's in Eindhoven in the library with the Dame. So everybody knows the Witte Dame, and we have a lot of expats also there
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Yeah, it's always half 50-50, 50 Dutch, 50 English.
Okay.
More or less. Yeah.
And when during the week does that happen?
It's always on Wednesday from 10 to 12. And it's
Okay.
really every Wednesday except when the Christmas is on Wednesday that we're not there, but the whole vacation, everything we just go through. Yeah.
Mm.
Otherwise it's confusing. Yeah.
And people can find you is it in the children's section?
Yeah. We're in there we have a big table, and we're all sitting on one big table, and there's a lot of, most time once in a month and once in 2 months are workshops.
Oh, nice.
So that's really nice. Yeah, they are not always in English, for sure, but yeah. But when you ask question, and a lot of people can understand quite a bit Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
but speaking is always difficult. I can understand. Yeah.
And what kind of workshops are those?
Oh, baby massage. How do you say the in English? To talk with your hands.
Oh, sign language.
Sign language. Oh, yeah, so easy. Okay, sign language. The first 1,000 days, how that works, what it is. We have a lot more, but I don't know at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
And there's a Facebook page. Is that how people can find you?
Facebook, Insta, and with by every midwife there are those cards.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are cards laying there, or they give it to you in those boxes or bags what you get when you go to the midwife. Yeah,
Yeah, like that you reach a lot of people, I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
via
yeah.
midwife practices as well.
Yeah, and everybody tells it here in Eindhoven and so on, and that's why I think it's also um, it's always busy most time, or it would be really 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 bad weather, but most time 10, 15 women with babies,
Oh, that's fantastic.
and then we really from 2 weeks till 4 or 5 years.
Wow. And that's a great way for especially expats to meet other new
Expert.
parents
Yeah,
and
and new parents. Yeah.
and start to build their social circles.
Yeah, but I always tell it also to people, because when I see that there are, I also ask, how long are you in Holland, and do you know a lot of people who gives breastfeeding or whatever, and I always give the card in a consult always. Yeah, I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Mm. And next to these breastfeeding coffees, do you recommend people also take private classes? Or when is a time when you think it's a good idea to take a private class? Or is it mostly after when the baby is born?
Yeah, most time after baby's born, and private class, we most of the time we do that when there were by the first or second child problems, and then
Yeah, yeah.
we going to go through the whole how that went, and then we can have a good plan. Of course, prenatal pumping with your own hands. Then in a private class you can also let the mom do it to get some hand expression and get some
Yeah.
milk out of the breast, so you can, then she already know a little bit how her body's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then once the baby is born and the mom is experiencing some difficulties or things are not working how it should be, then they call you and then you come to their home.
Yeah, yeah. Most time I come at home, and sometimes they can also come to the practice by several midwives, just what they, if they want that. But most people really love to do it just at home. They have all their own tools and bank and couch and whatever what they like to use,
Hmm.
because they think they need to use pillows, but they don't need it, but they think they need it.
Oh. And what are the most common problems or difficulties?
Pain and not enough milk, or the breast infection, but not really that big breast infection, but really that it's going, that's a little bit hard or a little bit red. And then of course it's very important to get latch
Hmm.
on different way. Yeah, but pain and too less milk or too much sometimes, but most time is pain and too less. That's also the two reasons why people stop, when women stop giving
Yeah.
breastfeeding.
And what is the most common reason for pain?
The wrong latch. I think the wrong latch. Candida is of course the fungal infection is an option, is a thing, and the tongue tie can be
Hmm.
a problem. That are the most common things, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. And those are the things what you immediately see
yeah,
when you come and then you give advice and then it's all sorted out.
yeah. And
So,
also at that most time you have also, you need really one session, and that's most
yeah.
time okay enough. Yeah,
Yeah. And then it's such a relief for the moms.
yeah, because it's really it's going for 8, 10, whatever. 10, 12 times a day, it's feeding. So it needs to be painless, and it is painless. Our Mother Nature didn't do something
Yeah.
wrong. They didn't make breastfeeding with pain. I think that's a really stupid thing. If they did, but they didn't.
And when you say too less production, is that really a thing, or is it? Yeah. What can be the cause for that?
So, sometimes it's really because moms think that it is because the growth curve is maybe not that good, or it's going a little bit down, or whatever. Or other people say, or they have a lot of formula fed babies in their surrounding. Most of the time they are a little bit bigger, but most time I think it's also sometimes is it too less, and that most time caused by the first week was not going that good. That they latched on too little, or they didn't take enough rest, or of course they had some delivery things what has some impacts, just like blood loss or that sort of stuff. But most time we can increase it, not always, but it really depends a little bit when they call me. Last time I had a woman who, 3 months. Yeah, that's very hard to get it back. That's hard work. So that's why I also said call on time as early as possible.
So throughout your, you said 16 years as a lactation consultant
already. Yeah.
What are some like funny or memorable experiences or moments that stand out to you?
I think beautiful moments are, for example, I had a few syndrome van Down babies, Down syndrome babies, and yeah, that's always very challenging for sure. But it's so amazing when it's working.
Yeah.
When it's going to work. Yeah, because those moms really need to work very hard, and they're adorable babies, I think. So and also adorable people. They become adorable people. I love to help those kind of babies because it's also for them for sure so important that there's going breastfeeding in the intestines.
Yeah, I bet it's a huge achievement.
Yeah. I think every time is funny when you help a woman to latch on, and you do just, for my opinion, really just that little bit, and she, oh, it also worked like that. Oh, then think, and that are those appointment mother think, yeah, I didn't do a lot.
But it was like an aha moment that it just clicked
That
for
they
them.
experience an aha moment. And not with that big changes. Only a few little ones.
Yeah, but you are an expert, so you don't see it. For you, it's obvious.
Yeah, that's still every time it's surprising. Still. Yeah.
And obviously not everyone can be an expert in every field.
No.
Yeah, but then you would expect that, oh, they know that, but often they don't, because we were never taught to. Like how I learned breastfeeding was that my sister gave me a book, a Hungarian book, and she said, if you read that, you can do it. And I did. I read it. I took it with me to the hospital for the first time, and I used it as a handbook. Like every day, a few times, I checked what is the position, what I can take, how can I lay and breastfeed. So yeah, for me that was she was my teacher and this book. But I think it's definitely what you already said, mindset. That's a big part.
Mindset's everything.
Yes. Like after the recommendation from my sister, I just decided that I can do it. She told me that I can, so I believed her.
Yeah, but and you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You believe that the things somebody else said is true, and then you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. And that's the whole part. If you believe you can do it. And that's why 99% of the women can breastfeed. And there's so little that can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big number and an important one. 99% of women can breastfeed.
Yeah.
Are able to.
Yeah, they're able to. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it just takes an investment. It's an investment in the first couple of weeks to get that latch right, to address any pain. And then once you put in that investment, it lasts for as long as you want it to last.
Yeah, and then you get all the benefits of it, and that's so important because intestines are so much better. And when your baby is going to the daycare or something, and there's something a virus that's 1-2 days for your baby, and that's gone, then it's gone, and it's not that bad as when somebody gets formula. That's yeah, that's not so difficult to search for it. It's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
The microbiome is so important, and nobody, I think, for sure, a lot of people think that the microbiome is important, but they don't handle like that. But it's difficult, of course, when we all see how to say that, reclame, advertisements from the formula or all the nice things in the supermarket. It's difficult to think, okay, I'm not taking that, I'm taking that because that's better for me. That's difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And that's the same with breastfeeding, I think. We all know that breastfeeding is better, but it's you need to work. It's hard working.
Yeah. And then
That's
of course there is a level when it's costing your well-being, that it's not working, you think you are not able to do it. There is
Mhm.
a point when you should switch to formula because it's just better for your family. You know what I mean? That you're
Yes, I understand what you mean, but I think then, and of course it depends on which age. If the baby, for example, 2 years old, and you're already fat, and you think, oh my god, I really want to have my body back or whatever, or it's too much with work and everything, I say, okay, that's a good reason. But if it's already hard in 3 months, then I think, can we do something else to change the other things, the
yes,
other parts?
yeah,
Just to take more rest, or can you let some people help you, or maybe you can, ask a little bit more relief from your work, or that sort of stuff.
yeah, yeah. Just there ask for help.
Ask for help, and also take care of yourself much more,
Yeah,
much better.
definitely.
That's so important. But because breastfeeding costs you energy, but it's cost energy, but normal energy if you eat good properly,
Hmm.
and that's so important. Yeah, but it's really important that you take care of yourself, eat good.
So if somebody encounters like Juliana's difficulty that she encountered of pumping, and
Mhm.
she just couldn't get enough milk out when she was pumping,
Mhm.
what kind of advice would you give them?
For the first thing, what's important to have, do you have the right breast shields? Most of people, if I think now how I could pump 20 years ago, 80
Hmm.
years ago, that's really sounds for a long time. Then I know now that I had a two big breast shields. That's why I couldn't pump. I know it now. And a lot of women has those small nipples,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we all pump most time with 24, 27, or 21, and that's most time too big.
Hmm. Yeah, so the breast pumps usually come with flanges that are standard sizes, right? Of 24 millimeters, maybe 27 in there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And these usually don't, it's not one size fits all.
No, no, for sure not. No, no.
Ruth, we have one more question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to our listeners, to moms who are first time pregnant and preparing for breastfeeding?
hmm Now, the first thing, prepare yourself. So get a course. That's very important. Also, take your partner with you to the course. Awesome, that's very important. And thank goodness, I think more expats doing that, English speaking person than the Dutch speaking person. So that's very good. Don't buy any pump or that sort of stuff. Don't buy too much for breastfeeding. That's really not necessary. And if you want to buy something, really let somebody give you a good advice. That's important. And
Mhm.
if there is something what changed in the breastfeeding period, then call. If you call, you don't have to. I don't have to. Lactation consult don't have to come to your place. Maybe it's just a simple question for us, and for you a big thing. So call, and if it's really necessary to have an appointment, then it's always possible.
Yeah.
But and go look for some people who also want to give breastfeeding or give breastfeeding 10 years ago. They have good advices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, try to, for example, the first weeks, try to avoid, if not necessary, the formula.
Yeah.
And not because I'm against formula, but more that you have donor milk, for example. There are a lot of women who have a lot of milk and they love to give it to you. And that's so much better for the intestines.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think I think your microbiome is so important.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah,
important that we think now, that we believe.
Yeah, Ruth, thank you very much for your time and the information that you shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It was nice to do. It was fun.
That was fun. Thanks so much again, Ruth, and thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And please help other pregnant expats living in the Netherlands find our show by leaving us a review and sharing it with your friends. Your support helps us reach more listeners and build a stronger community. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Pregnant in the Netherlands.